Peter lives in a house in the country. And we talked about the country and the city before in our last story. In the house, there's a wall around the house and the garden. The red bricks are the wall, and Peter's hand is on the gate in the wall. The wall keeps Peter and his grandfather safe from the wild animals who live outside the wall. So let's talk about the vocabulary words that are in our story before we start it. First, we have meadow. Meadow is a bunch of flowers and grass and flat land. You can see a picture of it. Pond. A pond is a small body of water. There's animals that swim in the pond, and there's animals that like to just go to the pond and drink the water. Ducks like to go to the pond. Forest. A forest has lots of trees and grassland, and lots of animals live in the forest. You may even live near a forest. You can think of all different animals that live in a forest. There's a bird in our story. There's all different types of birds. There's a bird in our story also. Cat. There's a cat in our story. You may even have a cat at home. And duck. There's a duck in our story also. And since the title is called Peter and the Wolf, we know there's a wolf in our story. And we've read stories with wolves in them already. Think about where you've seen a wolf before. You may have seen a real wolf at the zoo. You may have seen one on the television. There's all different places that you could have seen a wolf. So I'm going to play the story and listen to it, and because I'm going to ask you some questions to make sure that you're listening.
In the story, if you listen carefully, the music can tell you what the character is doing and feeling.
Early one morning, Peter opened the gate and went out into the big green meadow. A little bird, who was Peter's friend, was in the tree near the garden wall. All is quiet, the bird chirped gaily. A plump duck waddled into the meadow. "Oh ho," twittered the bird. "What kind of bird are you if you can't fly?" This made the duck angry, so it snapped, "What kind of bird are you if you can't swim?" Then, with a shake of its feathery tail, the duck dived into the pond. Back and forth, the duck and the bird argued. The duck swam in the pond while the bird hopped along the bank. In fact, they were so busy arguing, they did not notice the cat sneaking through the grass on its velvet paws. The cat crept closer and closer to the bird until, "Look out!" shouted Peter, who was watching nearby. With a flutter of wings, the bird flew up to the top of the tree. The cat thought to itself, "It isn't worth it to climb up that tree. By the time I do, the bird will have flown away." Just then, Peter's grandfather came out into the meadow. "Peter," grandfather called, "I have told you many times not to wander into the meadow. I know it's beautiful, but it's also very dangerous. What if a wolf should come out of the forest? What would you do then?" "I am not afraid of any wolf," Peter said bravely. But it was no use. Grandfather took Peter by the hand, led him home, and locked the garden gate behind them. Just as Peter left the meadow, thin gray wolf did come out of the forest. In a twinkling, the cat sprang up into the tree, and the bird twittered and fussed. The duck saw the wolf too. The duck was so excited and bothered that it quacked its way right out of the pond. No matter how hard the duck tried, it just couldn't get away from the hungry wolf. All at once, with one big gulp, the wolf swallowed the plump little duck. But the wolf was still hungry. Round and round the bottom of the tree he paced, never taking his eyes off the frightened cat and the bird. Peter was watching everything from behind the garden gate. He was not the least bit afraid. Quickly, he found a strong rope. He climbed onto the garden wall and up into the tree. Peter whispered to the bird, "Fly down and circle around the wolf's head. Keep him busy so he won't notice me, but be very, very careful." The brave little bird flew around and around the wolf's head. The wolf snapped at the bird, first this way, then that way, but the bird was too quick, and the wolf could not catch it. Meanwhile, Peter tied one end of the rope to the tree and made a loop at the other end. Carefully, he lowered the loop down until it was around the wolf's tail. Then quickly he pulled it tight. The more the wolf twisted and turned, the tighter the loop held his tail. Oh, how the wolf growled and snapped. He fought wildly to get free. Just then, horns rang out of the forest, and soon 3 hunters on horseback appeared. They had been chasing the wolf. "Oh ho!" laughed Peter. "There's no need to hurry. I've already caught the wolf. Come, let's take him to the zoo." Well, you can imagine that triumphant parade. First came Peter, who was rather proud of himself. Then came the hunters, leading the wolf. Then came the cat, who was careful not to get too close to the wolf. Then came Grandfather. And if you listened very carefully, you could hear the duck quacking away inside the wolf. The wolf, in his hurry, had swallowed the duck whole, so the duck was still alive. Above them all flew the little bird who chirped merrily. "Look at us! What a brave pair we are, Peter and I! We have caught the wolf!" So, Grandfather and Peter and his friends all lived happily ever after.
Okay, so let's ask some questions now to see how well you were listening to the story. Why did Peter go to the meadow in the beginning of the story? Because he wanted to go there and play. Why didn't Grandfather want him to be in the meadow alone? It was very dangerous because there were wild animals outside the gate, like a wolf, and wolves can be dangerous. How did animals feel when they saw the wolf? So how did they all feel when they first saw the wolf? They were very afraid. How did Peter feel about the wolf? Peter was not afraid at all. Why did Peter climb onto the garden wall? So why did he do that? He wanted to help his animal friends and catch the wolf. Do you think that that was a smart thing for Peter to do? And how many of you would have done that? Do you think you would have climbed the wall, or do you think you would say, no way, I'm not going in there? So that's just a question for you to think about. How did Peter catch the wolf in the story? Do you remember how he caught him? He tied a rope around the wolf's tail. How did the little bird help Peter put the loop around the wolf's tail? Do you remember? Good, he kept the wolf busy. He was flying over his head and he kept him busy while Peter tied it around his tail. And now looking at pages 10 and 11, so let's find 10 and 11. Take a look here. How did Peter feel on these pages? He felt very proud. How do you think the cat felt? The cat probably felt very happy and clever. Remember the word clever we've used in our last stories? Clever means smart. How do you think the wolf feels? The wolf feels probably sad and mad. And how do you think grandfather feels? Grandfather probably feels very relieved because Peter is safe. Do you remember in the story we said Peter felt so proud of himself? Well, we talked before school ended, we talked about how you're all proud of different things that you do in school. So Peter was proud of saving all the animals. I want to talk about all the things that you said you were proud of. So Stella said she was proud to be able to do tricks easily. Jackson said he was proud to be a good big brother. Mason is proud to be able to read. Nathan is proud to be a good listener. Cullen is proud to be a good big brother. Alex is proud to be a fast runner. AJ is also proud to be a fast runner. Jordan is proud that she could zip up her own coat. Grace is proud to be silly and to be fast. Kathy is proud to be a good singer. Mariana is proud to be a great colorer. Lillian is proud to be a fast runner. Joshua is proud to be a good helper. Frankie is proud to be a good t-ball player. Mia is proud to be a good ice skater. And Andrew is proud to be a good baseball player. So I'm so glad that you are all proud of something as well. Thank you, boys and girls.